Welcome to Gaming Rarities. I'm Dan. Thank you so much for clicking and for watching. I hope you're doing okay. And today we're going to go through every single piece of metal ever released for the PlayStation 2. And when I say every piece of metal, I mean every steelbook and every tin ever released in the PAL region. And by PAL region, I mean the UK, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, India, and South Africa. I think that's it for the PAL region. Now, I'm attempting to collect every single piece of PlayStation 2 cardboard ever released in the PAL region. If you want to catch up with how I'm doing on that, the link to that series will be in the description down below. But the PS2 cardboard collection, as I like to call it, does also include the metal side of things. So any steelbook or any metal tin that goes around the game. When I first started this YouTube channel about a year ago, just over a year ago, the first video I ever made was labeled every single PS2 steelbook ever made. Now, I was sure at the time that I knew about it, about every one. But as time's gone on, and I've learned so much over this past year or so, I came to the knowledge that I didn't know them all. I also had a couple that may be a bit dubious as to whether they actually existed on the PS2 or not. We'll get to those in a little while. But now I am 99.9% confident that I own every single piece of steel ever created for the PS2 in the PAL region. We're going to go through every single one today. The reason I made that video at the start is because it's so difficult to find a full list of these things. It's really hard to research because they're released, as I say, in different countries a long time ago, not pre-internet, but just when the internet was starting out. So that's why I made that first video, especially in the PAL region. I feel like it's really difficult to come across things like that. So I wanted a nice, concise video that said what every single one was so I could look at it myself, and for reference for anybody else who wanted to know about this type of thing, because it is really difficult to find this type of information out these days. But after years of research, I finally feel like I've landed on the full set. Now, at the end of this video, there are 3 new additions that I haven't shown ever on this channel before. 2 that I'll have to open because they're still in the packaging. I haven't opened them from being delivered. 1 that I got in a massive deal recently with Ibs, who is the Cardboard King. If you saw my Vintage Gamer video recently, you would have seen him in that one. I made a massive deal, including this last tin, the elusive last tin that I really needed for my set. So here's how things are going to go. We're going to go through every single steelbook first, alphabetically, and we're going to go through the tins after that. We're going to talk about the contentious ones in between, the ones that might have existed and might not. I don't think they did, and a lot of people agree with me that they didn't, but we'll get to those in a little while. And after the tins, we'll go through the ones that I need to open, the packages I still haven't opened yet, so the last few, and then that massive last elusive one at the end. So here it is, every piece of metal ever made for the PS2 in the PAL region. Let's get into it. And first up on the list is 24 the game. Now, I'm not going to go into too much information about all of these, just a quick overview. So 24, obviously based on the TV series, nice looking tin, some good artwork on the front there. Next up, Alone in the Dark. Now, this one is quite tough to find here in the UK. It does have UK and German language on the back of every one I've ever seen. I'm pretty sure it was more released in Germany, though, if that makes sense. Yeah, nice one, though, to find. Not the best game, in my opinion, but a nice-looking steelbook. Next up, Area 51. A pretty common one to find here in the UK. I see it quite often. Not very expensive either. First-person shooter, I believe. Never played it, but a vital part of the steelbook collection. Next up, Driver Parallel Lines. This is the collector's edition, which features the official CD soundtrack. Who doesn't remember Driver from the PS1, that ridiculous drive and test at the start? But this one, the 3rd game, I believe, in that franchise, pretty good if I remember rightly. Next up, The Godfather. Now, I keep my Godfather steelbook inside the metal coffin that came with the kind of special edition. I don't know for sure if it came that way, but that's where I keep mine. I just like to keep it all together. Great steelbook, love the movies, good game as well, very good game. I do enjoy the Godfather game. And this coffin tin, also metal, so has to be included. Very unique, not much like this in the gaming world, so yeah, an essential part of this collection. Next up, Hitman Blood Money. Another great looking steelbook, another one that's quite easy to come by here in the UK. Hitman, I'm sure you all know about the Hitman games, whether you go in stealthy or whether you go in all out, all guns blazing. Great games mostly. Next up, Killzone. Now, this is the collector's edition. Very hard to find in the English language. A lot easier to come across if you find one on the continent in kind of German or Italian, I think. But yeah, it contains a bonus disc in here and a very nice steelbook. Now on to one of my personal favorites, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. Now, as you can see, my one comes in a cardboard sleeve, which you don't see too often these days. So I really love the cardboard, love having that encompassing my Steelbook here. Now, my Steelbook is the German version. There is an English version, which I do not own. I'm not too fussed about updating this one, but yeah, and it would be nice to have an English one if I could come across it, but they always seem to be so expensive, the English ones, and I don't need it if I've got the German one. But yeah, lovely Steelbook, beautiful artwork, incredible game franchise. I'm a massive Metal Gear Solid fan, so this was one of the first ones I had in the collection. So yeah, big part of the collection for me. Up next, Peter Jackson's King Kong. Again, a very popular one here in the UK, not difficult to find at all. This one, nice Steelbook, good artwork, contains some extra art cards in there as well. Next up, probably the most popular and easy one to find out of them all is Resident Evil 4. One of the greatest games ever made, in my opinion. Resident Evil 4 has an incredible Steelbook here, but yeah, extremely easy to find if you need one. I saw about 6 in the CEX store I went in recently, so there are plenty of these about if you wanted one. Only about £20 these days as well, not overly expensive for a beautiful piece of gaming history. Next up we have Scarface. Now this one is the collector's edition based on the incredible movie. Very Grand Theft Auto vibes with this one, this game, great game. But yeah, my Steelbook could do with an upgrade. It has that rusted. Unsure whether it's actually rust or whether it's just kind of chipping off the paint type thing. Unsure, but yeah, these are tough to find in good condition. But I'm happy with mine. As long as it's got the sleeve and it displays nice on the shelf, I'll take it. Next up is my favorite in the Steelbook section of this. My actual favorite is Test Drive Unlimited. Now, the reason this is my favorite is because it's so shiny. It's a different kind of under metal, if that makes sense. It's so shiny compared to any of the other Steelbooks in this collection. I absolutely love the look of this one. German exclusive, so only available in Germany. Love this Steelbook. 4 games up next, all from the same franchise. So we're all SmackDown versus Raw from the WWE 2006, 2007, 2008, and 2009. Now, as a massive WWE fan, I had to own all of these anyway. A lot of them are Australian exclusives. Up to 2008, I believe, are all Australian. 2009, you could also get in Europe, definitely Germany. So that's where this one's come from. None of these ever released in the UK, unfortunately, which is a big shame. But they're not too difficult to find if you really look for them. The condition on the earlier ones is not great of the ones I own, but I'll take it. As I say, they're not easy to get here in the UK, so once I saw them for a half decent price, I had to pick them up. But happy to have all these in the collection. And lastly, for the Steelbook section, we have V8 Supercars 3. Now, this racing game franchise was only released in Australia, so this one is very difficult to get over here in the UK. Got it a little while back, not the best condition, but as I said, really tough to find, so I'm not overly bothered about the condition as long as they display nicely on the shelf. When they've got the spine display nicely, no problem at all. But yeah, tough one to get over here in the UK. Now we get to a point of debate when it comes to whether these 3 were a part of the collection or not. So when I was doing research for this was, throughout the years, I found various pieces of literature on the internet saying that Iron Man here was released for the PS2 in Steelbook form in Australia. So I have one just in case. I've spoke to other people since, and they've said that every Steelbook for the PS2 has the kind of PS2 spine and the PS2 logo at the top. These 3 obviously don't, but they're very late in the game cycle, so unsure. I can't be 100% sure, but I've got them just in case. So I'm not going to include them in the official count, as it were, but I do own them, and they may exist, if that makes sense. Just covering all my bases here. Also, FIFA 13 and FIFA 14. I kind of came across these on eBay, listed with the PS2 game inside and stuff. This is a while back, so I picked them up. But again, a point of contention. They may not have existed in the PS2. It might have been kind of a PS3 or Xbox 360 release that's then been transferred, the game and the manual transferred in, if that makes sense. But yeah, had to have these just in case. But I wouldn't be including these in the official set, but maybe. Who knows? Now we're going to move on to the tin section. But before I do, another little point of debate. I'm not including in this list the press pack releases. So as far as I'm aware, this one here, Toka Race Driver, was only released with the press kit. Inside, as you'll be seeing, is the limited edition, but inside the disc is only the promo edition. Now, promo editions were not for sale to the general public. Same with press kits. They were only given to the press to review the game at the start. And I'm 99.9% sure this one was never released to the public. So we can't include that in this list, I don't feel. There is going to be other press kits that have metal. I know of at least one more. It's the Getaway. I'll put a picture up of it now. So that definitely has metal on it, but was never released to the public. So we can't include that in a full list of metal for the PS2, I don't believe. I don't think it's right to include ones that you couldn't actually go in a shop and buy. So this one is Toga Race Driver. I will show it, but it's not included in the full set. And just before we get into the full tins, I'm going to show the one kind of oddity in this set, and that is TMNT. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles here, but it only has kind of a metal sleeve. Not so much a tin or a steelbook, but it is metal, so it will be included in this collection. Not too difficult to find. I do see this pop up quite often. Mine's not in the greatest condition, but again, the spine's okay, so I'm happy to display this one on the shelf. Yeah, it's a very unique one, the only one of its kind as far as I'm aware. Now, the first tin we're going to talk about is Brothers in Arms Road to Hill 30. And this one is slightly odd because inside this tin is not actually the game. So I believe this was part of the limited edition that came with the game, but not actually has the game in it. It just has a limited edition DVD inside. But it came with the game on release. Also has some extra bits in there as well. I kind of have to include this one because it was released to the public and it is metal and it was for the PS2. So it's going to be involved, but if the game was sold separately, it was kind of a 2-pack, just shrink wrapped together. So yeah, it has to be included, but doesn't actually include the game. So now we can get into the tin side of things properly. We have Conflict Desert Storm 2. Now, these tins that we're going to go through now all just have the game inside. So just the normal version of the game inside a metal tin. These metal tins, they often are bad condition. They dent easily, they scratch easily. The kind of, as I said, paint comes off it easily. So not hard to find in good condition, but these are just hard to find in general for the most part. There's one at the end which is quite popular, but these are all difficult to find. But first, Conflict Desert Storm 2. Next up, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty. Again, this one is a bit battered. The hinges are broken on my one, unfortunately, but I came across this in a bundle of games for very cheap on Facebook Marketplace many, many years ago. I've had it ever since. Not one that pops up very often, and again, I'm a massive Metal Gear fan, so it has to be a part of my collection. Would love to upgrade my copy in the near future. I keep an eye out for them, but they're either insanely expensive or they just don't ever appear. So a very, very tough one to find. Next up, we have From Russia with Love 007. So this James Bond game, again, just a tin for the normal game to be inside. This one was also released on the GameCube and potentially the original Xbox, I believe. And they all had tins and they're all the same. So if you come across one for the GameCube, you can just slip a PS2 game in there. I won't tell anybody. Not easy to find though, even though it came out on all those systems. Very difficult to come across. And this one is in very good condition as well. So really happy with this one. Now, I mentioned that one of these was more popular than the rest. And this one is True Crime Streets of LA. This tin is definitely more popular than the rest. Also has this kind of border of sponge around it, which is quite strange. None of the others have this. Does, however, mean that the tin is slightly bigger than all the others, which makes it very annoying to display on the shelf. Really annoys me. It is a pet peeve of mine that this is annoyingly bigger. But this is in great condition, easy to find, often on eBay for pretty cheap. So if you need this one, easy to get hold of. But yeah, a nice example of a tin. Now, this last tin, before I start opening parcels to get to the last few, was one that was featured on a recent PS2 cardboard collection video. An incredible piece, not one you see very often. This is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Now, this French exclusive tin contains obviously the game and a pack of Harry Potter Happy Families cards. Very difficult to find here in the UK, a French exclusive. But the best thing about this is this spine. I love that they have put the PS2 logo and have this spine for displaying on the side here. It makes it so much nicer to have on the shelf. Love that about this. There is another one like this coming up in a minute. But yeah, this one is a very, very unique one of my absolute personal favorites. So that was the full set that I owned up until recently, where I've completed the set, I feel. 2 more to add from parcels, 1 more that's sat just winking at me, and it's incredible. But this one is another tin one, the last one of the tins that I need, I think. I'm going to open it for you. Came off eBay, very cheap, just popped up, had to buy it, as it said, the last tin I need. I think it was £20. Often see these a lot more expensive. And this time we have Lord of the Rings, The Third Age. Now this tin is slightly gold compared to all the silver coloured ones that have been before. A gold tin, definitely unique. Again, this one was released for the original Xbox as well, so you can get the same tin on that one if you see it cheaper. Not bad condition really, just a few chips off the front there, but that's to be expected. Love how the Lord of the Rings logo here is like raised on the tin here. It's really nice actually. Yeah, one I needed to add, one I've been after for a long time, does not pop up very often. There is a couple on eBay at the time of filming this, but they're so expensive. So yeah, really chuffed to add this one to the full collection. Now the penultimate steelbook or tin that we're going to get to today is another one a bit like that Harry Potter one, a bit thinner though. It's a Spanish exclusive, one I've had to get from Spain. I had my eye on it from eBay, on eBay for so long. It's very expensive. The seller would not budge. Over 3 figures on this to get this here, but you just can't get it, and I needed the full set, so here it is. This is the Simpsons video game, or Los Simpson el videojuego if you're from the Spanish part of the world. This Spanish exclusive tin, it comes with that sleeve, which you don't see too often on tins. I've not got any others. Very unique that has a sleeve as well. To be honest, I did not realize it was a sleeve. That's why I said it was like the Harry Potter tin with the spine, PS2 spine. I thought that was kind of embossed on there, but it's actually just a sleeve. It just goes to show I'm learning as well. Inside here, we have got the manual and the game and an exclusive DVD, which I'll be sure to watch. The tin itself here is in near perfect condition, so I can't argue with that at all. And that sleeve is excellent. Love this one. Slightly annoying is that both spine sides have minor damage, so they won't look incredible on the shelf, but just one you can never ever get. So very pleased to be adding this one to the collection. Now until very recently, I would have thought that was the full set. That's the full set I had written down. That's the full one. I thought I've gone through the whole list, and I thought that was everything until very recently when I had a chat with the king of cardboard himself, Ibs. As I said, I met up with him recently when I went to Vintage Gamer, and we did a massive deal for some PS2. Lots of cardboard coming, so be sure to stay tuned for that. But the main thing I needed was this tin to complete the set. And it's a beautiful tin. It's an incredible piece, an Australian exclusive, the last one to complete the set. This is Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. Now this incredibly unique piece is more of a lunchbox than a tin or a steelbook, but it is metal, so it has to count. Just contains the game, obviously has that sticker on the front there, so you know this is part of this set. Australian exclusive, as I mentioned, not available anywhere else. Lovely piece. I love Dragon Ball Z. They have some beautiful pieces of cardboard on the PS2 already. This will be a lovely piece to add. So pleased to finally get hold of it. Well, I say finally, I didn't even know it existed until recently. But I am now sure that this is the complete set. So pleased with this one. Beautiful piece. And the final piece to the puzzle. So there we have it. A full, complete PAL set of every piece of metal ever released to the public for the PlayStation 2. All in one place, all in one video, all together. Can finally draw a line under that chapter because I now have it all. However, as I mentioned, it is extremely hard to find a full complete list. There may be some obscure one, especially regions like South Africa and India. They are basically impossible to find any information on. So there may be an obscure tin there somewhere. I don't know if there is. I've never seen it, never heard of it, and I've done so much research, spoke to some incredible people and found out so much knowledge about the whole set and about everything else PS2 related, to be honest. I am 99.9% sure that that's the full set. However, if you know of any others, please don't hesitate to get in touch and I'll do some more research. But that, according to me, is the full set. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.